All right, that was lovely Kim Hart from New Zealand. Talking about New Zealand, they are really starting to sort of hit us with force. Split Ends, and this album I've held up many a time, but this one's with a new cover. It's got a platinum and gold cover this time to celebrate the fact that both the single and the album have gone platinum, but they've done even more than that because they've now broken an Australian record by selling over 100,000 copies with True Colours, the album, and simultaneously selling over 100,000 copies with I've Got You, and no other group in the country have ever done that. So congratulations, Split Ends, and with all the talent coming out from New Zealand with Kim and everyone else, it's, well, I mean, My Sex, you name it, they're sort of starting to take us by force. I'm getting very worried. Another group, but this is an Australian group, called Australian Crawl, have got a great album out. Of course, the single is The Boys Light Up. That's not the only track that you should watch out for on this album. There's some beautiful tracks. Indispose is a marvellous track, and I think they're one of the hopes for 1980. Australian Crawl, have a listen to the album, and it's titled The Boys Light Up. All right, Mr. Gary Numan is about to tour the country, and he will compare the show in 2 weeks' time. We have his new single, direct from England. Here it is, Gary Numan with We Are Glass. All right, that's Gary Numan. As I say, he'll be comparing the show in 2 weeks' time. My Sex are back next week, and Steve Gilpin, along with a couple of the other boys, will be comparing it all the way from Brisbane. So Brisbaneites, watch out for us because we're up there next week. A rather tragic thing happened on the Australian rock scene earlier this week. It's something that I find very hard to express in myself because it's a guy that I couldn't say was a great friend of mine, but I admired him both as a performer, as a songwriter, and also as a guitarist. His name was Andy Durant, and he was, of course, the guitarist and major songwriter from the Stars, and unfortunately, he fought a 9-month battle, which no one knew about, fighting cancer, and last week, on Tuesday, May the 6th, Andy passed away. Now, the good side of this is the fact that Andy, for a start, when he left the group Stars around about November last year, he didn't want any publicity, he didn't want to talk about the illness that he had, and only his close friends and his family knew. And one of his close friends was Mel Eastick, who's also with Stars, and Mel, being a great friend, spent most of his time, most of his spare time with Andy, and during that time Andy lay in his bed and Mel sat beside the bed with amplifiers and guitars and that, and the thing that Andy wanted to do was write more songs. Those songs have been written, and in the future a lot of Australian people that are connected with rock and roll, that are performers, will in fact get together an album and perform those songs. And on top of that, Mushroom Records will now be releasing Stars Live, and then on top of that, Mal is now working for a benefit concert for Andy, with the proceeds possibly going to the Cancer Research Fund. It's someone that, sadly, through an illness that no one can fight, unlike drugs or booze or anything else that people tend to die of, especially in rock and roll, Andy fought a battle that he lost, but it's someone we can ill afford. Let's have a look at Stars with one of their hits that really put them on the map, The Mighty Rock.
Mighty rock, the mighty roll. One that's got you, won't let go. It don't matter what you do. Mighty rock's coming after you, yeah.
Well, there you go. From the American side, there's been a big rumour around that Peter Criss from Kiss, the drummer, has left the group. I can now say, although there is no official comment on this, that in fact is true. The Kiss tour will still go ahead in November, and believe me, they will be here in November without Peter Criss, and the new album, Kiss Unmasked, that will also be released. But unfortunately, Peter has left the group. He is still tied up with the management, and they'll replace him with the new drummer for the tour of Australia. All right, one particular group that is having enormous success, not only with the Wall album, but one of their albums they recorded 5 years ago has stayed in the charts in England and America for, I think it's about 376 weeks. And this is Dark Side of the Moon. It's a great album. Those who have just discovered Floyd, have a listen to this album, and it's not surprising because apparently some of you have, and it's now starting to break into the charts in Australia again. Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd. Another guy that I deeply admired, he's the guitarist from The Who. He, over the period of time, especially in the last 3 years, has been going out and listening to new bands all over England, helping new songwriters, and I think that's what it's all about in this industry. But Peter's finally released a solo album of his own. Here it is, Empty Glass. A track off this is with Pete Townshend, Rough Boys. Pete Townshend. Right, that was Pete Townshend with Rough Boys. Okay, one of our premier groups, in fact the premier group from Australia, LRB, are about, after doing a few local pub gigs, which have sort of been knocking them dead, are about to embark back overseas again. In fact, they go to Hamburg in Germany next Saturday, then they begin their world tour. They go to Holland, Sweden, the UK, then on to Japan, and then to the US. They've already sold out, would you believe, 3 concerts in LA, and that's 3 months ahead in one day. So here they are for their final performance, LRB with Red Shoes. Take a glance.